So my elder grandfather decided to send me some in the mail. This is all I can say. And you know what we do with Jehovah's Witness publications? They go in here. One for you. Peace. Side note, this is a white dude. This ain't no African. Bye-bye. What's up with it, YouTube? We back again.
Yes, we sure are. And we have a hot topic, okay? So many people ask, like, well, what is it that Jehovah's Witnesses can't do? How strict really are they? Let me tell you, they're strict, okay?
Hey, listen, the list go on forever.
It literally does, and I'm sure that you guys in the comments will think of even more things that Jehovah's Witnesses can't do.
For real, because we only can come up with so much, and then this other stuff like, oh, yeah.
Yes, every time we read comments, we're like, oh, we should have included that.
Yep, yeah, let's dive into it.
All right. Okay, so I guess we can start with kind of the basics and the normal things that people know that Jehovah's Witnesses can't do. Number one, holidays.
That's like the main thing people know about Jehovah's Witnesses. Oh, they don't celebrate holidays.
Yes, and it's kind of the most well-known thing because there's other religions that also do not celebrate certain holidays like Christmas and Halloween, things like that because of the pagan roots. But for them, it's like so strict to the point where it bleeds into everything else. So if you are of school age and you have things going on with the holidays, you cannot participate in the holiday affiliated things.
At all. Yeah. It gets to the point, even with kids at school, like think of Valentine's Day back in school, how they would do the cards and everything,
and
right?
all the candy.
Yeah, and the candy. And you are advised as Jehovah's Witness children to step out the classroom and be away. Like, you don't want kids to not feel included. Yeah.
You already feel weird as a kid as is, because you're finding yourself and things, and it's just like that weird age.
For sure.
So now you're further like creating a gap between the school kids and the normal kids. You know?
Because they don't want to be a part of the world, but you're making them such an oddball as children, and it is so strict. Even when we understand like Christmas, the roots of Christmas and Halloween, things like that, which is cool, but Jehovah's Witnesses come off as arrogant or rude or like they better than people when it comes down to, all right, it's Christmas time and somebody goes, oh, Merry Christmas.
Yes. Or Happy Holidays.
Happy Holidays. You don't say it back. And or you might even take it as a time they say to preach.
Oh my gosh.
Happy Holiday. Oh, actually, we're Jehovah's Witnesses and we actually don't do this. And it's like,
do you know how it originates? Like they go into that whole thing.
Even on field service. Yep, on field service days, on the holidays, what do?
They go and knock on people's door and talk about that. And this isn't actually the day that Jesus died.
Yeah, like people don't care. They spending time with their family.
Literally.
And they not trying to have you come and knock on their door and drag them into your religion. It's not time for that.
No, it's not. And even when we went back to see my family, remember, that was like, we travel a lot. We never see witnesses at the freaking airport. First time we saw witnesses at the airport with their stand was around holiday season.
Yep. Yeah, to brainwash people. That stuff, don't get us started. Birthdays.
Even movies. Movies. You're not supposed to watch like holiday affiliated movies.
That's another point. Yep. That's something else that's frowned upon. You can't watch. Like some they'll let slide, like maybe like if it's a little bit of Christmas, but if it's a flat out Christmas theme or a holiday theme, no.
And that's what's funny because that's what used to be like my favorite movies. Lifetime used to have like the 25 Days of Christmas. I think it was Lifetime or whatever.
One of them channels.
Yeah, it was 25 Days of Christmas, and that used to be my favorite time of the year to watch movies.
You felt the vibes of it.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure. The next thing that's a big thing with Jehovah's Witnesses is their choice of entertainment, and it's not something so extreme like the other religions ban like crazy stuff, but just regular stuff that everyday people do, such as we can start with music.
Yes, absolutely start with music because they always have an opinion about what kind of music you're listening to. Rap, frowned upon.
No.
Like, you were not supposed to be listening to rap.
At all.
Anything with kind of cussing in it and things like that, or things that are talking about anything sexual, like, you're not supposed to listen to any of that music.
None of that. And they try to push their music, like, listen to this out in service, these kingdom melodies, and it's you get caught listening to rap, you get talked to, even with Bethel, and I think rock and roll might be another thing, but on the application to get to the headquarters, to basically work for the headquarters of Jehovah's Witnesses, they ask if you listen to rap music. This has nothing to do with nothing. No. Like, do you listen to rap?
No, and it's really impeding on culture, because who's the kind of people that listen to rap music, like, for the most part, you know what I mean? It's like anything that the black community does is something that is frowned upon as Jehovah's Witnesses. So like hairstyles, like all those things, the way that black people wear jewelry, and it's not just black people, like white people also wear jewelry and things, but it's like a thing in the black community to wear jewelry, you know?
Yep, that's a real thing. But that's something pushed. Even like some of the movies you watch, we had mentioned some cartoons.
Oh my God.
Remember growing up, Pokemon was like, these are little demon monsters. Yeah.
They used to say the same thing about Smurfs.
Yep, Smurfs too. That was something else. They're little demons in this magic.
Yep. And they had a whole story. Like, I remember there was a story that went around about Smurfs and how somebody saw Smurfs, and I don't know, they did something, but they were like little demons. And it's something that kind of went widespread.
Yeah, like running through, it was a Smurf or something running through the Kingdom Hall at a certain hall, and then the story spread.
Yeah, it was. And I remember we used to get into really big groups of witnesses to go and watch different movies. And even, and even Disney movies used to be frowned upon, because almost every Disney movie contains magic at some point, okay?
Exactly.
And so I remember we went with this big group of witnesses, and there was a ministerial servant there, but he was pretty cool, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But sometimes he would just take things too far. We went to go watch Moana, okay? Mm-hmm. We are a group of teenagers, mid-20s, that went to go watch this movie, okay?
Right.
Tell me why he walks out.
That's something that's pushed in that organization.
Oh,
going to movies. If it's something that goes against what Jehovah's Witnesses teach, they will make a fool of themselves and get up and walk out the movie.
He felt like he had to do it because he held a title. You know what I mean? And this is what's so annoying about it, is that he felt like he needed to make an example of the situation, since there was so many other witnesses there. But I guarantee if he was there just with like one other person, he wouldn't have walked out. But it was because he was around all these other witnesses and he wanted to look exemplary. So that caused other people to think like, oh, there's something wrong with this movie. And there was a lot of magic in Moana, but there's a lot of magic in every Disney movie. Little Mermaid, like all these princess movies. What's it called? What's that called? With Jasmine?
I don't know.
I forget. With the magic carpet.
Oh, Aladdin.
Thank you. I said Adam. But all of the Disney movies have magic in it. And even my sister's old book study teacher, she walked out in Legos.
They are ridiculous.
Because there was a wizard.
They overdo it, but they drink blood out of a cup, and only certain people are allowed to do it when the moon is at a certain alignment.
Yes. I was so frustrated that day because I'm like, oh my God, like we literally can't do anything.
At all, even a cartoon.
Yeah, but then they would go crazy over Frozen, and Frozen is all about magic, but like that was allowed. Like, see how hypocritical they were about things? That used to frustrate me.
It's bogus. And then it even gets to entertainment like sports. You can't watch boxing. No type of, even WWE is acting. That was frowned upon, like as young people.
Violence.
Yeah, like you can't watch no WWE. You can't watch none of that stuff. It is very strict.
Yes, a lot of these things are taken to the extremes too, like we mentioned. So, like the organization, they won't put it out in JW.org verbatim, like, hey, you can't do this. But they insinuate it. So even I remember there was a Caleb and Sophia video, and it was like, reject bad things or something like that, and like drawing closer to Jehovah or something. And I remember Sophia at the end, she sees like a poster thing of a wizard, like a cutout of a wizard, and she looked at it and she was like, and walked away. You know what I mean? So like these kinds of things are insinuated. They're not written down, but they're very much there. Yeah.
There's a culture. And those that don't know, Caleb and Sophia, Jehovah's Witnesses on the website, they have these cartoon videos for kids to brainwash kids. And I remember one time it was on the news about Jehovah's Witnesses, and the organization was like, don't watch it, they're slandering us on the news. But the news article was speaking facts. They're brainwashing children. Kids can care less about these cult and religious practices when they 3-4 years old. Like, that stuff is irrelevant. Let them be kids.
It starts so young, and they're telling you from like such a young age to be so different to the point of fault, you know? And that's why a lot of people end up putting, like, a lot of witnesses end up putting their kids in homeschooling.
That's true.
Not for the reasons of education, okay?
To protect them from the world.
Yes.
Yep. I'm glad you brought that up. That was the point I was thinking of earlier. Shout out to the homie Mike, because I know Mike watched these videos sometime. I remember when me and Mike met, and I was like, when's your birthday? He was like, I don't have a birthday because Jehovah don't like birthdays. But I don't even know if Mike remembered this, but that was when I first met him when we was real little.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was something that he mentioned, but that's put in the kids, like, Jehovah don't like birthdays.
Yeah.
And kids don't understand. You would take it to the extreme, like, no, I don't even have a birthday.
And these are your formative years, like your developing years. So just like really think about this deeply. If you're forming these thoughts at such a young age, think about how it ends up affecting the rest of your life, because you're taught that all of these things are bad, and you're basically shown like you can't think for yourself at all. You know what I mean? You have to listen to us all the time. Even through the videos, it's showing like you have to listen to us.
Another thing Jehovah's Witnesses can't do is sports, which some people hear about that, some don't. But even professionally, no matter how good you are, you can't join the NBA or the NFL. Doesn't matter. Even like in high school, can't take no scholarships to go to college. Don't matter how good you are. It was so many. I remember like my cousins I mentioned before were over 6 foot as freshmen and couldn't play ball. It was Jehovah's Witnesses kids that are good at sports cannot play because you basically might. It's a chance of you waking up. Anything that increases the chances of you realizing this is a cult, they gotta cut that off. So if you are around people that
are not part of their religion,
it could influence you. Bad association, as they call it. But really, these people might be something that sparks your interest to realize, wait a minute, I'm part of a cult.
Yes.
So there's no sports, no boxing, wrestling, basketball, golf team, swim team, tennis.
Not in any of the grades. Not from whenever you're a kid all the way till you're older. You are not supposed to be in any of the sports. And it's basically to keep you within the community and to cut you off from anything that's going on outside of the community. So like you have to go to school, so they're okay with you going to school, but like I said, they do end up encouraging a lot of the time to homeschool, so then you're really cut off from any kind of worldly influence. Right.
And a lot of these kids grow up awkward, and
for good reason. I mean, like, look at all the things that they do to make you awkward.
Right.
You know what I mean? If you have no socialization skills and they're telling you to only associate with certain people, and those certain people are also awkward, like, what else are you going to be?
You're cooking up a recipe for disaster.
Yeah, so sports are so frowned upon. You can't do anything. No outside activities. Anything that exposes you to the outside world more than necessary, that's where it becomes a problem.
That's a good way to put it. And so what they do to make up for it, Jehovah's Witnesses will do sports things. Like might have a brother or sister might pay a rec center to play, basketball or something, or flag football. They kind of iffy on tackle, volleyball, things like that. But come on, we want to play for real.
Yeah, and they do, like, it's known in the JW community to do like those big basketball tournaments with all other like witnesses. But it's funny because within these tournaments, like, you have not only like witnesses, but you also have a lot of studies who are in it too.
I'm glad you said that. That's big in our region. If anybody from Ohio, Indiana is watching that,
it's like that in Pennsylvania too.
Oh, for real? They was real tricky with this. They would get people to kind of study, come to the hall a couple times they could hoop. Like, it was a couple people I went.
They were good.
Yeah, like the homie Jamel I went to school with was a hooper, and him and the other dude, Deshaun, they can ball, but they wasn't trying to be no Jehovah's Witnesses for real. Like, but they was good at hooping. And then you can have people who weren't really, as they call, spiritual. Basically, spiritual as Jehovah's Witness mean that you follow all their guidelines, but it don't actually mean nothing with spirituality.
Right.
It would be people that wasn't really witnessy, but they could play sports. But you can kind of finesse sometimes.
Not baptized, not nothing. You're just kind of exposed to that lifestyle. Like your grandma is a witness or something. And so, yeah, you go to these tournaments. Because I remember my cousin Moosey was going to the tournaments. And then, like, the girls, they want to go, too, just to watch the football. It's like a whole high school thing.
Right.
But, like, within the witness community. It's crazy.
Because it's not, you don't get to participate in the real world. So they create this fake one to kind of make up for it. Like,
So kind of going along with, like, the high school era, a lot of people go into the military after high school. Or they join like JROTC or something while they're in high school. Nope.
None of that.
Not allowed.
Nope.
Not allowed because you are not supposed to be, what did they say, under Caesar's law or something like that?
Basically taking sides with Satan's world, Satan's government.
Yeah.
How they put it. So you can't join the military, which is kind of understandable if you're looking at it from the point of violence and moral things like that. But
we don't believe in the military.
Yeah, like I'm not a military person because I understand how corrupt this country is, but that's another topic. But this is the kicker. If you get offered a job that has any ties to military, it could be or anything like it could be a job that makes triggers for guns or something like. Nope, can't do that. If it helps with it could be making a side panel that goes on the tank. It can pay you $45 an hour fresh out of high school. Nope.
Yep.
Can't take that.
Yep. No, you're not supposed to have any jobs that is involved in like the government, you know, like
as far as military.
Yes. Yep. Yes. Or like voting and things like that.
Yeah, that's another thing. No voting.
No voting. Yep. I think, did they just change that?
I highly doubt it.
Let us know in the comments because I feel like I heard a rumor that it was just recently changed or something, and that now witnesses are allowed to vote. Yeah.
We'll have to ask people in the comments.
We're gonna have to look that up for you guys. But back when we were in it, no, like you were not supposed to vote and take part of anything going on with those kinds of
political things.
Yes.
Yeah, that was a no-go.
When it comes to military, they go as far as not being able to donate to the Salvation Army.
Yep, we had the Croc Center back in Dayton, Ohio. It had the Salvation Army thing on it. You Jehovah's Witness, you can't go there. I went. You crazy. I want to go hoop. But like you can't even participate in something like that.
Oh, you know what? Thinking about that, it reminds me of like the YMCA. You're not supposed to go. Oh my gosh, I remember we were a part of the YMCA because they had a pool there, like they had the gym and my mom was working out, all that stuff. And we were talking about it with my Bible study teacher. And she was like, well, do you know what YMCA stands for?
It's like, oh, here we go.
Like, again, another thing that we cannot do. Yep. So we had to stop going to the YMCA, which was ridiculous because we were not, it's just owned by somebody, you know? I wish that I knew what I know now back then and be like, well, how about the governing body and all the stocks that they're in? Right. You know who owns these companies?
Wait a minute.
That they invest in?
Yeah, wait a minute. Walmart? Who owns Walmart? All these that car you drive, Chevy or Ford? What's the root of these people? Yeah. Yeah, you could take it if you want to be that extreme, but it's always
anything.
When it comes to this stuff, it's like, do you know what else you can't do? You can't do it. And they pull this thing out and it's like, boom, 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 boom. Like, you can't do YMCA. You can't do this. It just goes on and on. The list
goes on, and you can make it go on and on. I remember a talk being given about the YMCA, and it's just ridiculous. Like, but I remember in school, we used to sing that song like, YMCA.
Yeah, stuff like that. I'm glad you mentioned YMCA because it's church related. So, another thing Jehovah's Witnesses can't do, anything that got anything to do with church. Even funerals. Jehovah's Witnesses cannot participate in funerals that are not. That's another video we're going to do because Jehovah's Witness funerals are weird. Very lame and they're very odd. We'll get into that on another video. But say it's a family member, doesn't matter who it is, and they're not a Jehovah's Witness, you can go in and view the body and you got to get right back out. I remember multiple times when we had funerals in our family and the Jehovah's Witnesses in the family, soon as they got the viewing, they was out. When they in there preaching and talking, you out the door. You not in there for none of that.
I don't think they're technically supposed to look at the body.
I'm not sure. I know our family did. Well, pop in and pop out.
Yeah, I mean, there was reasonable people who would go to like the funeral and things, but usually if it was in a church or something, like you're not supposed to go. Weddings.
Wait, I'm glad you mentioned that because it was a local. I can't remember if it was a local needs or if it was just a conversation. But it was if a brother like my granted, they're building inspection for the city. If you get assigned somewhere to a church, or if you got a delivery job to the church, are we allowed to do that? Why is that even a question?
Oh my gosh.
Oh, right. Like, it's your job. You a delivery man. You taking a package into the church and out.
Like,
but
you're not going in there confessing your sins. What's the problem?
Yeah, or trying to join, but it is that strict with Jehovah's Witnesses.
It bleeds into every aspect of their lives.
Yeah, for sure. But even like you said, like the weddings, participating in weddings, like I mentioned before, my disfellowship cousin got married.
Yeah.
And my uncle got in trouble, and my cousin was pioneering and stuff. My other cousin, they all went. The whole family went because this is his daughter. And the other cousins, they siblings.
Yeah. And
somebody seen the pictures on Facebook, told, and it got back to the elders.
They're extra.
And extra. And I even got questioned about it. Like, you didn't go to the wedding. And I was busy at the time and forgot all about the wedding and just happened to not go. But, brother, we're so glad you didn't go. Jehovah is so pleased.
Give me a break.
Man, come on now. So that, and then if it's a family member or a friend that's not a Jehovah's Witness that has a wedding, you can't be in that stuff.
You're not supposed to be friends with them.
No, in the first place.
Yep. And we've talked about this in other videos, but it's very well known you're not supposed to have worldly friends, okay?
Yep.
Worldly friends is anybody who is not a part of the Jehovah's Witness organization.
No siree. Even the only way that you can really associate with somebody that's not a Jehovah's Witness is if it's religion based. Like, I'm trying to recruit you and I'm trying to get you to be a study. Then I can talk to you, but to an extent, because we can't really kick it like that.
Yes.
But once I get to talking to you and you start coming to the hall and our interest, you have to show interest in becoming a Jehovah's Witness.
Yep.
Then we can invite you around. But other than that,
you're not supposed to be a part of any activities that are like of the world, where there's mostly worldly people there. So even if you're in school, you can interact with these people in school.
Right.
If you are at work, you can interact with these people at work, but you're not supposed to be interacting with them like outside of those hours.
Yep.
And I remember when I was in nursing school, we had like, if anybody has gone to nursing school, you know, like usually they tell you to get with a study group because it was just easier to study with other people, like maybe one or two other people, just to bounce. There's so much to learn. So you might catch something and not catch something else, but your friend might catch it. So you kind of put both of your heads together, and that's how you study. And nobody else understands. Like, it's not like spelling, you know what I mean? You can't tell your mom, hey, read this word and let me spell it back to you. That's not how nursing is. It's like all about critical thinking. So I had a study group, and I remember I think it was my sister. My sister posted a video of me and one of my friends studying at my house, and I got in trouble for it. For one, this guy was gay, okay? But I was in trouble because I was studying with somebody outside of school hours at my house.
Yeah, they strict like that.
Yeah, like super strict.
Even like when you got coworkers or people at school, you can associate during these hours, but say like, hey, we're gonna run to lunch and for an hour. Nope. Or after work nope, you can't do that. Now that's no Jehovah's Witness.
Yep, not leaving the building. Like, stay in the building. You have lunch in the building. You should not be going anywhere else with these people.
They even advise you on lunch break, take time to read the Bible.
They do that. Or take time to preach, and talk to a coworker about this. And they make videos about it, like showing examples of what you can do. It's just like
harassing people.
Yeah.
And I can't nobody wants to be around the Jesus freak at work. It's like, can't even have a regular conversation. How was your weekend? Oh, well, actually, me and my family went to a district convention. That's where many see, there's so-and-so go with that.
Question.
Yeah, like, we're not trying to hear that stuff.
Yep. And along with friends, obviously, if you can't have friends, you definitely can't date anybody that is not a witness.
Let's get in on that one. So, when it comes to dating, like, a lot of people may find a Jehovah's Witness attractive, like, oh, no. Only way that can happen is if they break the rules and do it. But other than that, they can't date you. And it's so strict that even when you become a Jehovah's Witness, you still might not be up to par because you got to be at a certain level or a certain status or have certain titles in order to date. And the style of dating is not normal. Most people, average people, get married mid to late 20s, maybe 30s. Jehovah's Witness, it is very common for people fresh out of high school to get married.
Yeah, very common because they haven't been able to date. Like, even in the organization, if you are texting somebody every day, it's considered dating.
Yep. It's that strict.
So you can't do that, and their flirting like rules are super strict.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just ridiculous. But a lot of people end up getting in trouble that way because they start dating somebody who is considered worldly, and so there is endless publications, endless videos, endless everything in regards to dating.
It is very, very strict. And these people, and what happens is when you have people boxed in this bubble, it gets to a point where, all right, now I'm 18, you at the height of your hormones, you don't want to get in trouble because you're not allowed to, even when it comes to dating, you have to have a chaperone. So me and you can't be together alone nowhere. We got to have some other person with us all the time.
Yep.
We got to follow all these rules, so we can't really get to know each other. On top of that, we got somebody with us all the time, so we can't get to know each other. So it's like, all right, the only way to get to know each other, we got to do what they say. We got to get married right now. And you got people
who aren't compatible.
Yeah, so you get married to this person you don't even know. And I remember, as my uncle being a Jehovah's Witness, the realest thing he ever said was about when my friends Maddie and Mason, not Maddie and Mason, that's our brother, Maddie and Mike was dating, and they gonna laugh when they see this, but they kept getting on reproof and stuff. And so that was a big thing in the congregation. Oh, they got in trouble again. They got in trouble again. They need to get married. And they was trying to force them. They forced them to get married. And my Uncle Kurt was like, I don't advise people to get married because what's going to happen now, you force people to get married, and now you got adultery because they end up not really liking each other because they don't know each other. He was like, I'd rather people just get in trouble than to hurry up and get married. Yeah. Because that's what he went through.
Yep. Thankfully, there's people who do think that way. But like you said, there's people who think on the other aspect too and think that, oh, they need to hurry up and get married so that they can not get in trouble, which is, it is so ridiculous. My mom used to say the same thing. She'd be like, I'd rather you get in trouble than to get married to somebody and end up not compatible, and then now you're going to get divorced and they're going to give you the hardest time about getting divorced.
And on top of that, divorces are hard enough, but who wants to get divorced at 20?
Nobody.
Like, that's bogus. Who wants to go through that situation? But this is the culture they put with dating, is that strict.
And it's like a big thing whenever you start dating. A lot of witnesses will first start like quietly dating, where everybody else doesn't really know about it except the two of you and maybe a close couple of friends. Because the thing is, as soon as you go public about dating somebody, it is so much pressure and so much added, I don't know, just added eyes, and everybody knows it. And then that's whenever it's like a race to the finish line of when you get married. They're in
your business. And another thing, you have to notify the elders when you are dating somebody.
I forgot about that.
Yep, you got to sit down and give them a heads up. And I'm pretty sure how it went, like, you give one a heads up and then they meet with you and give you like pointers and stuff like that. Encouragement. Basically all in your business, and then they
reminders.
And they gonna keep checking up. So they push this hurry up and get married. So they want you to date. They even got timelines up. I think it was up to a year or something. Engagement next. You need to be engaged no longer than a year. The engagement has to be less than the dating, and then y'all need to get married.
Yep.
And they have to marry you. You know, usually at the Kingdom Hall, depending on your status, sometimes they funny about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, they marry you and everything, and that's that. And you are encouraged to really have people included in it.
Yeah, it's funny because even when it comes to destination weddings, those are kind of frowned upon, like within the organization. Like they kind of look at it as like, well, why don't you want to get married in the Kingdom Hall?
Right.
Like, oh, I'm sorry. Maybe I want to be on an island.
Yeah, I don't want to be in this boring building with no windows.
Yeah.
Yeah. Another one is things like meditation and yoga. And basically anything that helps you realize within, because you realize you don't need the outside influences or looking for something outside of yourself. So yoga is frowned upon. Things like martial arts, you know, anything in that nature is a no-go. It's against the rules.
Yep, it is very, very frowned upon. And I did not know that until like probably my late teenage years, and somebody told me that yoga was bad, and I was like, what?
Yeah.
Like, what are you talking about? But they view it as like devil worshiping.
Yep, it's satanic. It's so strict. One of the pickiest things I think in the organization, besides everything else, was like dress and grooming.
Oh,
that was a big thing.
Yes, dress and grooming was huge. That was another reason that a lot of people would get in trouble. And like, for example, piercings no-go. And I'm not just talking facial piercings. Even a second ear hole or like these kind of piercings, they are very much frowned upon. You are not supposed to have them. Or if you do have them, you're kind of looked at sideways. Like I got these 2 piercings with one of my Jehovah's Witness friends at the time. And we had went and got them together. And we just kind of hid them. Like we didn't talk about it or anything like that because people would look at it funny. Those like industrial bars, not allowed. I remember there was this little girl. She was part of a family. It was like the dad was an elder, the mom was a pioneer, and she had a brother. Okay, and they were all looked at as like the Caleb and Sophia family within the Kingdom Hall because they were like an exemplary family. Okay, and I remember the one day I was out in service and the little girl was like, "Oh my gosh, you have a second ear hole? I want one of those so bad." I asked my dad, but he said no. And I was like, yeah, I don't know what to say at that point. You know what I mean? She's like a kid. I don't want to go against what her parents are saying. And she was like, what did she say? I forget what else she said, but I was like, well, so-and-so has a second ear hole. And it was it was one of my friends at the time. Yeah. But she was looked at as more exemplary than I was, okay? Like, she was a real goody two-shoes. Like, she was like that. And the elder was on my panel for whenever I was on reproof. Yeah. Okay, so he knew what was going on with me. But the other girl, never been on reproof, never been in trouble, nothing. She was exemplary. And she had a second ear hole. As a matter of fact, she had a third. And when I tell you, this little girl's eyes lit up like, oh my gosh, I know what I'm going to do. She was like, well, if so-and-so has one, I think my dad will let me get one because, maybe not if I tell them you. And I was like, oh! Right. But she was a kid, so kids tell the honest truth. Right. So you know what's going on in the households. But she told her, your dad, it's because your dad's a square. Just straight to the point, your dad's a cornball. But that stuff, even the piercings like we mentioned, tattoos are frowned upon. When I was disfellowship and came back, looking, I had all of this done, which this is the only thing that's kind of exposed. But they were I remember a sister at hospitality was like, what did you do to yourself? And everybody else at the table was just like... Why bring that up? Yeah, but they were like one of the elders that was super strict when he had left and came back when he was like finding himself. He came back and he had like a microphone on his arm. And it was like certain brothers was looked at like it was a badge of honor to certain people. Yeah. Like, man, he made it back from the world. He even got a tattoo to show it. You know what I'm saying? But it's annoying. But so many witnesses get tattoos and try to sweep it under the rug or gotta hide it from people. Yeah. I remember it was on Snapchat, it was a witness that had a nose ring, but it was like captioned, but it's a fake one, y'all. Like the fact you gotta announce something. You gotta announce to people, no, this is not a real one. Yeah. I mean, for what? Me and my sister had my sister had colored hair and it was kind of it was red, but then it kind of transitioned to like a bronzy color, and then I had this wig that was like pink at the bottom, and we had posted a picture on Snapchat together, and I remember people were marking us as bad association because we posted a picture with these colored wigs, and I remember going off on Snapchat, and I'm like, you guys are so ridiculous, because at that point we hadn't done anything, you know what I mean? We were still very much witnesses, but like we just wanted to freaking wear something different. Express yourself. Yes. It's simple. And if you have tattoos, like those have to be hidden. Especially if you have like a part or something on stage. They need to be like covered up. Yep. And as y'all seen, we covered before, the beards is just now acceptable. All this time, even if you just went a day or two without shaving and it was starting to just barely come in, you would get talked to. Especially if you gave a talk like that. You couldn't even have a beard. Nope. Can't have. Now you can, which is so crazy. Which it was such a bad thing, and now all of a sudden, oh, never mind, my bad. Yeah. Y'all can have beards, but don't think to say that you were thinking this the whole time, because Jehovah wouldn't approve of you not listening to the governing body. Things like that. Even when it comes to like flashy dress, like if you're wearing too much jewelry or something, you'll get talked to because you're looked at as flashy. And they are quick to pull out that one scripture where it says like, do not adorn yourself in gold or something like that. Yeah. I remember somebody pulled that scripture out on me, and I was not wearing I was wearing costume jewelry, like fake jewelry that you get, and it wasn't even that much. But just because you fix yourself up and have jewelry on, like this kid literally was like, well, don't forget the scripture here at blah 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 blah, and I'm like, dude,
shut up.
What is your problem?
They be having some audacity to just say stuff to you.
Yes, they do. Yep. And I had a talk on stage that like a comment thing on stage that day, and yeah, that's what he had told me. I'll never forget that, because I was just like, this is just ridiculous. There's always a problem about something. Even your clothes, you would think you can go to church or something and dress nice, your Sunday best can't be too nice. Like your suit can't be too bright or too flashy. Yep. What about how the sisters dress? Colors, you can't wear any bright colors as a brother, or else you get labeled as a metrosexual, as Tony Morris would have put it. People are like, when they start wearing the more fitted suits and stuff. Not allowed. Yeah, that was a no-go. For sisters, obviously nothing tight, nothing to show like any kind of curves. Dresses had to be over the knee. Right. No like low cut tops. Yeah. Certain stuff like that. Yeah, I'm trying to think of other things. Even makeup, like no like not too much makeup. Right, like even if it was too colorful or something like that. Yeah, like not too many colors. It was too many rules. I think that covered like women still can't wear pants to the Kingdom Hall. That's right. Mm-hmm. Women can't even give talks. You know what I'm saying? Things like that. Nope. All we have is like comments in the small parts, but you can't stand up there and give a 30-minute talk as a woman. And they try to paint it as our sisters. Don't forget our sisters play it. No. The women are second-class citizens in Jehovah's Witnesses. Like, we're not even about to sit here and let y'all sell that dream that even though the brothers do this, our sisters are supportive. No, the sisters, even if you can say a prayer right now, it don't count. Like, all right, head covering. Put this on your head. Now Jehovah gonna listen to you. But without this on your head, Jehovah ain't about to listen. Yep. Come on now. Ridiculous. It was, but no locks. Yeah, no locks, braids, afro too big as a black person. No siree. Yep. Can't get in trouble for the parts, like the parts that guys would put in their head. Yep. Certain halls was strict on that. You can barely get away, or if it was more than one, like you could get away with one part, but if you had two or a little too much of a design, now all of a sudden you're going a little too far. Yep. Even if the part was like a little bit too thick, because I remember that's what was stopping one of our friends. He's out now, but like from becoming a ministerial servant because he was wearing parts in his head. Yep. Piercings, you can't have earrings as a man that's a Jehovah's Witnesses. No. Yeah. Nope, can't do that. Jewelry can't be too flashy. Nope. Because now you look like a rapper. Which, you know what that really means, but we'll leave that alone. That part. Oh my gosh. There's a long list. I'm telling you, I'm sure that some of you guys will come up with even more, because I think if we would sit here and think about all the things you're not allowed to do, the list can go on and on. Yeah, this would be like a 3-hour video, but I know y'all got something to drop in the comments, so please drop them below, because I'm sure y'all gonna have some good ones. You can't do nothing. Nope. Yeah, sure so it's like, why would somebody become a Jehovah's Witness? We did a video on that. You go back and tap in on that one if y'all haven't. But yes. Yeah, this goes on forever. But make sure y'all continue to hit us up and follow us on our new Instagram at Awaken Truths IG. Yep, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. We see all you returning viewers that haven't subscribed to the channel. What are we doing? Right, what you waiting on? And shout out to all you disobedient Jehovah's Witnesses watching these videos trying to defend the truth. Yeah, y'all calling us apostates and all that. Yeah, we're the apostarones. We back at it. We are the Jehovah's Witnesses. Jehovah Hove, he's coming to get you. Witnesses? Yeah, so yeah, when the end comes, I'll cash up everybody $1,000 a piece. Until then, I don't think the end is coming.